in Baton Rouge. Eric told me he saw you leaving. No, on the phone.
Oh, how did he get here before me?
No. Because you left early, right?
Yeah, I left before. All right.
Are you ready? I'd like to call the meeting to order. If there are anyone that has any special intentions? No? Okay, if we can all stand. And I'd like to invite Father Sergio Serrano of the Hispanic Apostolate to lead us in the prayer.
Thank you, Madam President. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. God our Father, you guide everything in wisdom and love. As to the prayers we offer for our Kenner's leadership, Heavenly Father, you are a God of power and might, wisdom and justice. We thank you for these men and women who serve our community in leadership roles and for their families. We pray that they govern us to bring safety to our community. Provide them with knowledge needed to approach each situation in the best way and give them the wisdom to lead our community in virtue. Grant them those lights and graces that are necessary for the perfect discharge of their duty to people, that they may be true servants to you, King of Kings. In your goodness, watch over these men and women in authority, that they all love you and serve you, so that people in our community may enjoy freedom, security, and peace. And we ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
I'd like to ask CFO Liz Herring to lead us in the pledge.
Madam Chairman, you have a quorum. In accordance with Council Resolution Number B14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. We have correspondence, reports from the mayor, CAO, or department heads.
Mayor Glazer.
Thank you. Hopefully I'll be very quick today. As you saw outside walking in, the Christmas Village is pretty much up and running. It'll be opening tomorrow at 5:30, and it'll run through December, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with various entertainments each night. I think we have the lighting. We're going to flip the switch on the lights at 6 o'clock tomorrow with the arrival of Santa. And also just a brief statement we've received, like I guess all of you council members have received, telephone calls, emails, and text on the missed garbage pickup on Thanksgiving Day with no makeup. We've been meeting with IV Waste for about the last 2.5 months on various problems with billing and service. So it hasn't gone, I guess, the way we wanted it to go. So we're probably not going to say too much today about the IV. You know, we figure at the end of this meeting someone may speak about not having garbage pickup. But we do think that we're going to quickly hit a roadblock with our discussions with billing and pickup, so we're probably not going to make too many comments. So, and with that said, that's all I have for you today.
Thank you, Mayor. Any comments or questions for anyone else? Okay, thanks.
Under resolutions, motions, and other items from the floor, Madam Chairman, we've received a request to amend the agenda to add item 16J to the agenda. An ordinance amending Chapter 10, Licenses and Taxation, Article 10, Permits for Public Gatherings, Section 10-200, Permit for Conduct of public gatherings for profit, nonprofit, or charitable purposes, Part L, fee for security personnel, and Part 1, 2, fee increases of the Kenner Code of Ordinances. If anyone in the audience is wishing to object to us adding this item to the agenda, please come forward now and state your objection. Seeing none, I have a motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan, to amend the agenda to add item 16J. All council members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Under the consent agenda, we have item 1, approval of minutes, the regular council meeting of November 3rd, 2022. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. We have none. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application number 2304-22, the City of Kenner to hold a public gathering on December 2nd, 2022 through December 18, 2022, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays only from 5:30 to 8:30 for the purpose of having Kenner's Christmas Village at Heritage Park. Item 3B is application number 2306-22, Rotary Club of Kenner to hold a public gathering on January 7, 2023 from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. for the purpose of having a community service fundraiser at Lake Town in Kenner, Louisiana. And that will conclude the consent agenda.
A motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Under the public appearance agenda, we have item 8, public hearings and final passage. Item 8A is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,097, an ordinance approving a general advertising sign in a SI, Special Industrial Zoning District for Pelican Outdoor Advertising Incorporated on a portion of Lot 8 and Lots 9 and 10, Square 208, Bainbridge Office and Industrial Subdivision. Madam Chairman, I've received a request for a one-meeting deferral.
Motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Any discussion? Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 8B is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,100, an ordinance amending the 2021-2022 operating budget to budget police share of excess revenue, allocating it to the 2016-2017 capital budget for the police equipment, vehicles, and capital improvement account.
A motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Lahad, to open the public hearing. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Motion passes 7-0. We're now in a public hearing. If there's anyone wishing to address the council, please come forward. Seeing none,
Yes, there's a motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Lahad, to close the public hearing. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed.
seeing none, motion passes 7-0.
There's a motion by Councilmember, actually, does anyone want to say anything? Questions? Okay, nothing. Motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Lahad, to approve the public hearing. No, to approve the, yes, to approve the public hearing. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 8C is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,101, an ordinance amending the 2021-2022 operating budget to comply with Louisiana Revised State Statute 39:1310-1311.
A motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan, to open the public hearing. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0.
Mr. Morella?
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 50 years. I should have asked this for the item before that, the resolution, but I didn't. How much money are we talking about here, moving around? How much? I need to get a dollar figure.
Ms. Herring?
So for this item, the expenses total about 1.67 million, and the revenues shortfall was $234,780.
And could, Councilwoman McKinney, can I get her to give me a figure? I know we done passed that item and then voted on it, but is it possible for me to get a figure on the capital budget, on the budget that's going to the police department? The one we just voted on, the one before this one.
Sure.
If it's not possible, if it's not against council rules, forget about it.
That's fine.
If I can get it, I'd like to get it.
That's
Thank you.
$1,500,357.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Morello. Any other? Okay. Motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan to close the public hearing. Council members all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0.
Motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan to approve the public hearing. Council members all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 8D is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 13,102. An ordinance authorizing a public hearing and amendment number 4 to the fiscal year 2021 annual action plan of the Home Investment Partnership Home for the Community Development Department.
A motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot to open the public hearing. Council members all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed say nay.
Motion passes 7-0. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council on this item?
Seeing none, motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot to close the public hearing. Council members all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed say nay.
Motion passes 7-0.
A motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot to approve the public hearing. Council members all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 9 is ordinances for the sale, purchase, transfer, lease, and/or alienation of a movable property. We have none. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. Item 12A is summary ordinance number 13,103, an ordinance authorizing a per diem allowance for the commissioners of the Kenner Housing Authority.
A motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Schwartz. Mr. Morella, you have 3 minutes.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 50 years. I'd like to read the language. I spoke with Mr. Garrity here, and I spoke also with the executive director who's in the audience, and Mr. Bordavon. And I'd like to know if I can get read into the record. They advised me, because I said at the last meeting I wanted something ironclad, that if their funding source dries up, the city of Kenner is not responsible for that funding if this passes. So they tell me, they advise me that it's locked in the audience that we won't be. So I like that language that's inserted in that ordinance, not holding Kenner liable if their funding dries up. I'd like it read into the record. Whatever that language is.
Is that your final comment?
That's it.
Okay.
I'm finished.
Thank you, Mr. Morella. Mr. Power, I believe that Section 2 says that neither the City of Kenner General Fund nor federal funds shall be used for the funding source. Is that that clarifies that?
That's correct.
Yes.
I think that language accomplishes what
Suffices.
Mr. Morello has asked for.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A is a resolution electing a Kenner City Council President and Vice President effective January 1st, 2023.
Motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Schwartz. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 13B is a resolution submitting nominees for an appointment to the New Orleans Aviation Board.
Motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Dunn. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 13C is a resolution confirming support for the redevelopment of the Esplanade Mall, including a potential for certain tax incentive programs.
A motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Councilman Brannigan.
Yes, this resolution is being put up showing that the administration and the city council are willing to work with the new owners to get this property redeveloped. And JEDCO is very involved in this endeavor to get this property back into commerce. So that's why we did this.
Any other comments? Mr. Morella?
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 50 years. About 2 years ago, we had our assessor come to the Jefferson Parish Council meeting and gave a presentation that mall owed Jefferson Parish $1 million in unpaid property taxes. And while he was there, I got the information about Kenner since they was domiciled in Kenner before he left. And they owed us $250,000. Now, before we consider any kind of incentives, and I brought it to this council 2 years ago, as soon as I got that information. Now, I'd like to know what went down with our $250,000 that was owed to this city, and I'd like to know before we start discussing any incentives, we need to know exactly what happened. Did they pay it? Is it in the courts? Do they intend to pay it, or they never intend to pay it?
Thank you, Mr. Morella.
Thank you.
Mayor Glazer?
Yes, the active sale was planned to be last month in November, but they waited on this resolution of support that we would assist them in any way of any tax benefits or incentives they would have. So the active sale is going in December, this month now. Don't know the exact date, but yes, the issues with the tax, the first one was back in either 92 or 94. If he would have paid taxes, it wouldn't go to the current year. It went back to in the 90s. So he sued his title company in one. I think the title company paid the back taxes, and I'm not sure if he paid the taxes yet, but they will be paid before the active sale.
Thank you, Mayor Glazer. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 13D is a resolution appointing Brad Bohannon to the City of Kenner Board of Zoning Adjustments.
A motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 13E is a resolution temporarily suspending Council Rule Number 11 of the Rules of Organization, Business Order, and Procedure of the Council of the City of Kenner and rescheduling the Kenner City Council agenda deadline to Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023 at noon for the council meeting of January 5th, 2023, and also rescheduling the council agenda deadline to Tuesday, January 17th, 2023 at noon for the council meeting of January 20th, 2023.
Motion by Councilmember Schwartz, seconded by Councilmember Lahat. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 13F is a resolution accepting a grant from the Lupin Foundation on behalf of the Food Bank for the Department of Citizen Services.
A motion by Councilmember Dunn, seconded by Councilmember Schwartz. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 13,104, an ordinance approving amendment number 8 with ASM Global, formerly known as SMG, for management services for the Punch Train Convention and Civic Center to extend the agreement through June 30th, 2023.
Motion by Councilmember Lahat, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 13,105, an ordinance approving amendment number 2 to the agreement with HNTB Corporation dated December 5th, 2016 for Williams Boulevard Corridor Improvements, West Metairie Avenue to I-10, state project number H.010570, federal aid project number H010570, City of Kenner project number 2014-001F-CIP, adjusting the amounts of the supplementary services for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Schwartz, seconded by Councilmember Wilmot. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members
Aye.
opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15C is summary ordinance number 13,106, an ordinance approving change order number 6, final, to the agreement with Jack B. Harper Electrical LLC dated March 25, 2021, for the installation of emergency vehicle preemption equipment along Loyola Drive for an increase of $911.70, and accepting the project as complete for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Lahat. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15D is summary ordinance number 13,107, an ordinance approving an agreement with MSMM Engineering LLC to provide professional engineering services associated with 42nd and Lake Trail and 31st and Loyola Sewer Lift Station Improvements Project in an amount not to exceed $72,048 for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilmember Lahat, seconded by Councilmember Brennan. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15E is summary ordinance number 13,108, an ordinance accepting an agreement with LV Technology Incorporated to supply GPS-only tracker equipment and service for the City of Kenner vehicles on an as-needed basis in an amount not to exceed $90,000 annually for the Department of Fleet Management.
A motion by Councilmember Lahat, seconded by Councilmember Brennan. Any questions? Okay, Councilmember Wilmot.
If we can just have an explanation on this one?
Ms. Director Renatza.
So this is for the tracking of our vehicles throughout the city, enable us to do monitoring for some maintenance on them and locations on the vehicles.
And the equipment is,
The equipment is free,
okay.
but we're paying for the monthly service.
And
per
monitoring,
unit.
the ability to monitor them?
We will be able to have the tracking on all the vehicles that we install it in.
And that's just going to be on a regular computer, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Is it a new service as well, or have we had previous
We've
monitoring?
had previous tracking before.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, how
Yes.
many units are we going to have?
When it's completed, we'll have 125 vehicles, and fleet management will be doing the installation on them. We're going to do 25 at a time.
And needless to say, this is good for the city, I presume, from your point of view.
Yes,
This
sir, it
good for
is.
Okay,
Yes.
that's all, thank you.
Oh, by the way, you did good.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Council members, thank you, Ms. Renatza, Director Renatza. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15F is summary ordinance number 13,109, an ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Jefferson Parish to fund the operation of the Kenner Loop bus service.
Motion by Councilmember McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Dunn. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15G is summary ordinance number 13,110, an ordinance approving an agreement for consulting services with Connick & Associates LLC in an amount not to exceed $120,000 for the Kenner Police Department.
It's a motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15F is summary ordinance number 13,111, an ordinance authorizing a 2-year agreement for the purchase of a 55-camera license plate recognition system, including site and safety assessment, camera setup, testing, and freight from Flock Safety, a sole source provider, in the amount of $294,250 for the Kenner Police Department.
Okay. Just to clarify, we're discussing 15H, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes. Okay, Councilman Brannigan.
Hold on one second. We have a motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan. Now you can go.
Okay, I have a question for the chief. The addition of the 55 cameras, do you know how many we have out there right now?
We have about 36 right now.
Okay, And so that's going to cover this city pretty well.
Yeah, so this is the newest and the most updated technology in license plate recognition cameras. It also has a memory, and it's patented, which is why it's sole source, where it can actually recognize the types of vehicles, give us a good idea in case it doesn't have a license plate of the vehicle we're looking for. 55 will give us good coverage. It's not going to rely on Entergy like the current ones do. It's not going to rely on Cox cable to transmit the information like the current system has. So the $2,500, it's $2,500 per unit, and all the data is stored on our Axon storage that we got with the body-worn camera. So we also don't have to pay for the servers and whatnot to retain that data. So this is, like I said, the newest mousetrap in license plate recognition. It's going to be very essential for detectives and investigators to go back to investigate crimes just based on the type of vehicle, the location of the crime. It's just a great tool to have in your toolbox.
So we're replacing the old ones with this new deal?
We're going to supplement the existing stock of license plate recognition cameras because they still have some lifetime left in them.
Okay.
So this will be in addition to the ones that we already have. Eventually, the other ones are going to become outdated, and we're just not going to repair them. We'll replace them with other flock cameras. But this is consistent with what's going on across the region in law enforcement, and they do communicate with each other.
That's a big deal, Chief.
And I do want to thank Councilman Impastato was funding this with his district funds. During the transition, we all had a lot of conversations about, the next step in law enforcement and technology, and this is something that was on our radar, and he agreed to fund this as well.
That's a great deal.
Thank you, Councilman.
Super.
Thank you, Councilman Brannigan. Councilmember Lahat?
Yeah, Chief, I dug into this one day a long time ago. The cameras we have now, it seems like the technology is getting cheaper. The ones they put in a long time ago in Kenner had a bigger price point. So is the technology getting better to allow us to have more?
Technology is better.
Yeah.
This can actually identify a vehicle, a bumper sticker, and it actually takes the videos. But even though you're saying that the old technology is cheaper, it still relied on Entergy, which comes at a cost.
Yeah.
Cox cable, which comes at a cost, and you have to provide the servers to store the data. So it's actually less expensive, it's cheaper due to those factors. And plus, as we all know, Cox cable goes down on a regular basis, which makes these cameras ineffective. So the new flock cameras actually won't be affected by a Cox cable outage.
What happens if somebody rips off their license plate? These cameras?
This camera has a technology where it can identify through certain features on the vehicle, the type, make, and model of the vehicle, and then it can track it throughout the whole series of flock camera systems.
Yeah, and I didn't realize before I got into this in Kenner how effective these license plate readers actually are. We're talking with Chief Mayor Glazer while I was a chief, and I had no idea how amazing it is, and it does solve crimes. And I know y'all did solve that crime at the Shell station by tracking when they left and they went to that apartment and then they ended up in Tennessee. So I know the public needs to know, and I think this is great. So we're happy to do this, and I'm glad you got that money.
Well, it gives you another eye. It's just as good as a patrolman because it tells you who's in what area, what time they're in there, and how long they're, where they go from there. So it's a good tool to have.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman Lahat. Councilmember Dunn?
Yeah, I just want to ask one question with them. Do the other agencies have the same system?
That seems to be the most consistent camera system in this area because it is connected with the Axon. If you remember, y'all approved the body-worn cameras, and the data storage is an important part of that, and we have unlimited data storage. This goes with that same software. So this, as well as all the other agencies in the area that have the Axon product have the same system.
So what about New Orleans? I'm just asking.
What about
because a lot
Florida?
of that go from one, New Orleans, Jefferson, and
Yeah, they
go all
do
the way up.
communicate.
So are they on the same system?
Absolutely,
They
yes.
are, okay.
Thank you, Councilmember Dunn. Councilmember Wilmot?
Just one question, Chief. This is a 2-year agreement. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, it's a 2-year agreement.
No, it's a 2-year agreement, but I understand that Dominic Impastato, the councilman for District 4 for the parish, is
So
handling the cost of this. Is that correct?
yeah, he's putting up about $100,000 this year, Next year, it'll be another $100 and something thousand. So we'll cross that bridge when we get it. Hopefully, we'll have some grants come in, we'll have some other monies coming in to fund it, but I think these things will pay for themselves.
So hence the two-year agreement, yeah.
Yes,
Got
sir.
it. Thank you. Fantastic. Real good.
Thank you, Councilmember Wilmot. Council members, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15I is summary ordinance number 13,112. An ordinance authorizing the utilization of the City of Alexandria contract number 2381 with St. Martin Parish Acquisitions LLC doing business as Courtesy Ford to purchase vehicles on an as-needed basis in an amount not to exceed $1 million for the life of the agreement for the Kenner Police Department.
Motion by Councilmember Wilmot, seconded by Councilmember Brennan. Chief, I just have a clarification point. Several times, we've had utilized, or we voted to utilize several different contracts. Can you clarify and explain why we have had issues with?
Yeah, well, you know, this is the problem with every police entity in the area. There was a big article in the paper about New Orleans, down 300 cars, but due to the supply chain shortage or whatever excuse it is, it's hard to get vehicles. So the last chief went out and actually piggybacked with the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office contract, so they had 15 interceptors on order there. They came forward, canceled that contract on us because the price point was too low. So we had to go out and shop, and the City of Alexandria actually has a favorable contract, so now we're going to pursue the vehicles through them, and the timeline might be a little shorter.
Great.
So we're gonna keep trying until we get the vehicles we need.
Thank you, Chief Conley. I appreciate that clarification. Yes.
Chief,
Councilmember
about how
Schwartz?
much per unit?
About 38,000.
38,000?
Yeah.
That's radio, lights, and everything, or is
No,
that's
no,
just the vehicle, the four wheels?
Right. That's the actual vehicle. The initial price was about 28, and then cost escalated, so Ford canceled our contract. So there's an increase.
Good.
So we did cancel some of the vehicles to make up for the difference in the price.
Councilmember Dunn?
What does that mean about for the life of the agreement?
Say that again?
What does that mean for the life of the agreement as long as for the city police?
Yeah, as long as it's for the life of the contract, as long as
For the contract?
contract, like, so we're doing a cooperative purchase agreement with Alexandria, so we can use their prices. We got a letter, there's a formality that you have to get a letter from that agency allowing you to do that. So this is only as good as their contract is.
Okay.
And do you know how long that contract is? Is it for?
No, not
No.
offhand. I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15J is summary ordinance number 13,113. An ordinance approving amendment number 1 to the agreement with Crow and Associates Incorporated dated August 17, 2022 to provide ditch spraying services on an as-needed basis in accordance with RFP 22-6652 to increase the not-to-exceed amount by $20,000 annually for the Department of Field Services.
Motion by Councilmember Schwartz, seconded by Councilmember Dunn. Council members, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed, say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 15K is summary ordinance number 13,114. An ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Parish of Jefferson for the enhancement of recreational facilities at Muspertolino Park.
A motion by Councilmember Brannigan, seconded by Councilmember McKinney. Councilmember Brannigan.
Yes, I just want to thank Councilman Impastato from Jefferson Parish for finding this funding to improve Muspertolino Park. We are in the process. We had taken a tour of a park across the lake, looking at it, and basically the money's there. Hopefully we can improve a lot of Muspertolino Park and make it a premier facility. So I just want to thank Dominic for getting that funding for us.
Mayor Glazer.
Yes, I'd also like to thank Dominic for giving us the $2 million. Face value, $2 million is a lot of money, but what I learned quickly, when it goes into recreation and park upgrades, it's not a lot of money. So we'll use the money wisely to make the best improvements to try to bring some revenue-generating tournaments to that park. We just want to make sure we thank Councilman Impastato.
Thank you, Mayor Glazer. Councilmember Swarth?
Yes, also, we got to make sure that we thank Eric Schmetta, also our Public Service Commissioner, for providing the lights that's going to be out there, the new updated lights that's going to be at the field also. Also, if we do this right, I know I can get baseball tournaments and I can get their local leagues to play at this playground. And that's would be $400 on every Sunday. That would be in addition to the city funds for recreation. And also, one of the tournaments that we're getting ready to put on right now from teams coming from out of town, we're looking at trying to rent the fields over at Miley and Alario Field, and that's at $1,000 a day. We want to rent those fields. So we got the adequate fields, we got some nice fields, and these players that's coming in from around the United States. Some of them played Major League Ball, AAA, Major League, and they're serious, and they're ready to come to New Orleans, and they're ready to spend some money. So if we can get these fields up and operational, I know I can get these tournaments here at the ballpark to help the Recreation Department.
Thank you. Council members, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Council members opposed say nay.
Seeing none, motion passes 7-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance accepting the quote received from Kenner Automotive Repair LLC for parts and labor to repair Unit 1121 in the amount of $25,708.27 for the Department of Wastewater. Item 16B is an ordinance ratifying the emergency 6-month lease agreement for 10 Chevrolet Tahoe vehicles from Enterprise Fleet Management in the amount of $10,200.70 per month for the Kenner Police Department. Item 16C is an ordinance approving amendment number 1 to the agreement with Risk Tree Service, LLC, to provide tree work on an as-needed basis, increasing the not-to-exceed amount by $150,000 annually for a total not-to-exceed amount of $300,000 annually for the Department of Field Services. Item 16D is an ordinance approving a cooperative endeavor agreement for the Pump to the River Pump Station Phase 1 with the State of Louisiana Facility Planning and Control, FP&C project number 50-MF1-22-02 in the amount of $13,400. Item 16E is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Beacon Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration Incorporated to furnish and install a 25-ton HVAC system at Lincoln Manor Gym, 3100 Helena Street, Kenner, Louisiana, in accordance with seal bid number 22-6699 in the amount of $44,998 for the Department of General Services. Item 16F is an ordinance approving an agreement between the City of Kenner and Comtech Managed IT Solutions for the Department of Community Development. Item 16G is an ordinance approving amendment number 2 to the agreement with Ram J Construction LLC to provide concrete flat work on an as-needed basis, increasing the not-to-exceed amount by $250,000 annually for a total not-to-exceed amount of $500,000 annually for the Department of Field Services. Item 16H is an ordinance approving amendment number 1 to the agreement with Ram J Construction LLC to provide drainage maintenance services on an as-needed basis to increase the not-to-exceed amount by $600,000 annually for a total not-to-exceed amount of $1,200,000 annually for the Department of Field Services. Item 16I is an ordinance authorizing the use of state contract number 4400-0205778 with Applied Concepts Incorporated doing business as Stalker Radar to purchase speed enforcement radar equipment and accessories on an as-needed basis in an amount not to exceed $100,000 for the Kenner Police Department for the life of the contract. Item 16J is an ordinance amending Chapter 10, Licenses and Taxation, Article 10, Permits for Public Gatherings, Section 10-200, Permit for Conduct of Public Gatherings for Profit, Nonprofit, or Charitable Purposes, Part 1 and 2, Fee Increases of the Kenner Code of Ordinances. Item 17 is reports from the council and/or special committees.
Councilmember Lahad?
So I want to thank Jose. We had a sinkhole issue in 44th and Lake Trail in my district, problematic, and the residents were really concerned. Within a couple of weeks, Christine Calamari and Jose really got on it. We figured out the funding, and they were out there today replacing that sinkhole. It was a really dangerous issue for the residents of my district. So Thank you for that. My district also, we've redone the front of Driftwood, the Civic Association entrance. It's beautiful. Doing the same thing in Beachview Heights and Vistas very soon. So a lot of things going on in District 3 I'm very happy about. Thank you again, Jose, for getting on that so quickly.
Councilmember Swarth.
Well, you seem to be a popular guy there, Mr. Jose Gonzalez. Again, I want to thank you for the work on 20th to 21st Street. We worked together. We got the people out there. Now we got the funding. Let's get the public works out there to find those drains for us so we can get them dug up, located, so we can get everything done and get that project started, because that's a project that's long overdue there. Also, Miss Amy, thank you, ma'am, for taking care of some of those trees that needed to come down. The pine trees, and the ones on Roosevelt that was totally dead. We got a couple more issues out there, but I know we can work on it. I want to give a thanks to Matt with Risk Tree, because they also did a fantastic job on cutting down 3 huge pine trees at 30th and Kentucky, I believe, that was had the pine beetles in them, and the pine trees were dying. We got a lot more work out there in District 2. Also today, I had Energy remove 3 broken utility poles. So I want to give a thanks to Pat Hamby, that's out there, and Eric Jones with AT&T. He's working on a couple more to have removed. So we're doing things out there in District 2, and I just want to give those guys and these people here a special thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Dunn.
Yeah, I just want to thank the constituents for hearing me about the cleanup of District 1. We are out there, and I had one of the residents wake me up 8 o'clock to go out and do what we do. So I just want to thank them for that, because it's going to take a minute, but I told them 1 street at a time. We're going to do this for District 1. And I just want to thank them. Some of them have called the office because they want to go out. One of them that's here with us tonight, 2 of them that's here that have gone out with us. So I just want to tell y'all, thank you. We can do this, and guess what? We will do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Dunn. Okay.
Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and no motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Thank you, Mr. Morella. You have 3 minutes.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 50 years. I want to start out, I want to express my appreciation to Chief Conley here. You weren't at the last meeting, so I wanted to do it when you got here in person for a job well done in hosting the Veterans Day ceremony. You did a wonderful job, and I can't appreciate it enough. Thank you, Chief. Now, to elaborate a little bit on what the mayor said early in this meeting about IV waste. Now, I'm going to go a little further than what he did, because I expect to see a credit on my water bill next month for a 1-day pickup instead of 2 that we're paying for. Now, another thing, this is the time of the year when people generate more solid waste than any other time of the year. Now, I don't have a problem with him giving his employees off to spend Thanksgiving with their family. That's what that day is all about. But that solid waste should have been collected Friday, the next day. And to make matters worse, they didn't even touch the recyclables. I got my neighbors on Sunset, the 4200 block of East Loyola, with the recyclables overflowing the can. The wind comes up. They got debris all over East Temple where it blew out of the can. One of my neighbors, the can blew over and the trash was all in the street. I picked it up and put it back in his can. Now, this is ridiculous. I'm lodging a formal complaint right now on the record. I'm not worried about no emails, and I'm not worried about sending no paperwork getting no way. I'm airing it now so it'll be all over social media and YouTube. And something needs to be done. If Sidney Torres can't do a better job than this, then he needs to go, and we need to get somebody in here to carry it. Now, to respond to you, Councilwoman D. Dunn, okay, I appreciate the people in your district showing the interest in their city and what's going on down there, but where's the accountability? Where is it? Where are the fines that's being leveled on these people that are doing this in this district? It's not just your district. They got a dumping ground right down there by Gabrielle on Juliet. That's their favorite dumping ground. And I mean, where are the fines? I mean, I think it's $1,000 fine if you get caught throwing a chewing gum wrap out your car window. But all ordinances on the books are doing no good if they're not enforced. Where is the enforcement back here? Because until you hold these people accountable, this is going to continue. Now, in closing, those who have not voted yet early, make sure you get out there December the 10th. There's 3 constitutional amendments on the ballot. So make sure you get out there and vote. Anybody got any comments, any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Morello.
Thank you.
Mr. Richard Brown, if you could state your address and your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam President. Richard Brown, Sessions Lane, Kenner, in District 4. I want to agree with Al Morello's comments about IV waste and the fact that they did not pick up the second pickup of the week in most of District 4, fully 1/3 of the city. I got here late, so I did not hear what the mayor said about it. I know he was aware of it and concerned about it, and I know he was trying to meet with IV waste. But the IV waste contract, as did the Remelli contract, and as did the contract before that, all have exactly the same provision regarding holiday pickups. And they all provide that we are supposed to have 2 pickups per week, every week of the year, including weeks with holidays. The provision that lets them take a holiday says they can take certain holidays. They can give their workers Thanksgiving as a holiday. I have no problem with that. Remelli did that. The contractors before him did that. But Section 5.2 of the contract is crystal clear that if they take a holiday, they are supposed to schedule a makeup day so as to still pick up every route twice in the week. IV Waste has not done that since the day they got the contract. Remelli was doing it. The Thanksgiving of 2019, the last year Remelli had the contract, they took Thanksgiving off, but they ran a double route on Friday. They picked up on Friday. Starting the next year, 2020, when IV Waste had it, they did not make up for Thanksgiving, and they did not make up for it the next year, and they did not make up for it this year. That's skipping fully 1/3 of the city, plus the recycling day. We're paying for something we're not getting. And it's more just that we're paying for something we're not getting. Residents are used to having the holidays made up the next day. The newspaper, not the newspaper notice, the Facebook notice and the website notice that was put out by the city was not at all clear as to what would happen to those people with a Thursday pickup. In my neighborhood, and I read on Facebook other neighborhoods, it seems like about 1/3 of the people had their garbage out, Thursday and had it out for Friday morning, expecting it to be picked up Friday, and it stayed out all weekend. This IV Waste has been, I need to use polite language, has been not living up to the terms of its contract and financially disadvantaging the city. And again, I'm trying to use polite language. I'd rather use something much more graphic, but they've been putting it to the city since they got this contract, and we need to stop it. And at a minimum, we need to get a credit for these missed pickups, but in the future, they need to comply with the contract.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any additional people to speak from the audience? Yes.
Talking about Darrell Price, District 1,
Okay.
539 Salvador. Since we're talking about IV waste, you know,
Sir, you just have 3 minutes. I don't. So.
they didn't start out right when they got the contract. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing from it. The deal was bad from the beginning. You took the contract from some people who were picking up everything. These guys, if the can is too heavy, sometimes they leave it. I don't know if y'all experiencing that. And I've called them. This is garbage you're picking up. Sometimes it stinks. Sometimes it's a little heavy. They don't get that. And so we're having this problem because I really do think we got rid of people who went over in the board. And then, I mean, I know they had some rough times, but they picked up on Friday things that Ivy Waste pull up to your house and look at it like, who you think gonna pick that up? So, you know, when you start out bad, this is what you get. And I tell you, I think that in doing things, we should look at people who really deserve the job. Not because we know them, or because we've done some backdoor dealing. And if we do that, we'll get better service because they got companies out here are willing to do what they say. Consider that as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Ms. Fernandez? And if you can introduce yourself and state your name, well, your name, your address, and your 3
Tracy
minutes.
Fernandez, Platt Street, District 5. I'm not going to bring up IV. I've already emailed my council members, and Ms. Vallow already has responded to me. But what I wanted to, I guess I'm wondering about is there seems to be an ongoing issue with a lot of fake or expired temp tags around the city. And I've heard of quite a few friends getting in accidents or wrecks with these vehicles. My daughter was actually hit by one. Luckily, she didn't have a lot of damage, but the plate was not good. It was not traceable. The guy left. And is there anything that can be done more about that? Will these new license plate readers help with things like that? Because it just seems like, you know, these people are either, I'm hearing these tags are fake or they're expired. These people may not have insurance. And it just seems to be more and more of an issue, whereas the people who do have insurance, or if you just only have liability like my daughter had at the time, well, then you got to pay for the damage yourself or, you know, eat it. And it's just, it seems like it's just, I mean, we see a lot of them in Kenner, a lot of Texas tags, a lot of them just look fake or expired. Just wondering if something more can be done about that. I know the police department's like has other priorities, but you know, there are people, I've had friends who really had their cars damaged and people have ran or left and it's just not traceable. It's not a good number. It's not a good plate.
Thank you, Ms. Fernandez. Chief?
Yeah, the new system does have a technology to deal with some temporary tags, but it's not going to solve the problem like Ms. Fernandez was just talking about. You know, that's good old police work. They're stopping vehicles. We see the influx of cars. It's not just in Kenner, it's throughout the whole region. They, you know, come after storms from out of state, but we're aware of it and we're doing the best we can to enforce it.
Thank you, Chief. Seeing no one else, motion to adjourn.